People in Paris are not rude, you just don't speak French. I'm going to tell you a story and then I'm going to give you some tips how to make your travel experience exploring Paris a little bit better. First of all, story time. I was in Paris last week and I'm going to a metro station. I entered, put my ticket in, it scanned it. I went to find the entrance to the line that I was looking for. Maybe after 5 minutes walking, there was a pretty big station. I get to another point where you need to scan your ticket. And obviously you can't scan the same ticket twice, you need to get the new one. I don't want to pay for one ride the price of two rides. I went to the attendant at the station to try to figure out what I should do. And there is a lady sitting in the booth. I approach her and I say, hey, excuse me, I just got this ticket and I scanned it in the previous entrance and I'm trying to enter here. And she looks at me and she says to me that she doesn't speak English. She says it in French. I was like, okay. I took some French in school and then I haven't used it for 20 years. I still remember some basics and that's what helps me to get around, but my French is very limited. I stood in front of her for a couple of minutes. I took a deep breath, tried to formulate a sentence in my head, and then I am showing her a ticket and I say, cette billet, une autre entrance, et maintenant, il y a une entrance ici, et je ne sais pas. That was all. It's barely a full sentence, all that I was able to put together. And she asks me, where did I scan it? Something like that. So where I entered, I couldn't figure out because she asked me in French. And I just respond to her like 5 minutes before. And then she looks at me, she takes the ticket, she puts it in her like checking machine. She gives it back to me and she says in totally fine English, you can use this here. There is a big gate, just go through it. You don't need to scan it. And I say, merci beaucoup, and I'm on my way to where I was going without having to pay twice. But the key here is that she was not going to help me after I just addressed her in English and she said that she doesn't speak English. But in fact, she did. And that would be the majority of the cases in Paris. People speak English completely fine, but they would prefer not to if you just approach them in English. Not everyone, but most people. So now a couple of tips for you if you are planning a trip to Paris. First of all, wherever you go, if you enter a store, a restaurant, if you want to ask someone a question, first thing that you need to say is bonjour. In the evening, bonsoir. Even though I find that a lot of people would still keep saying bonjour later in the day, I don't know what the rule is there, but either way, if you just say bonjour, you will be already greeted better. Number 2, always have a reservation if you want to go to a specific restaurant. That will make your life much easier. When you get to your lunch or dinner or breakfast, come in and say bonjour, and I usually say in French, j'ai la réservation. French people in Paris are not going to judge you for not speaking good French, but they would judge you for not trying. And the last tip, pretty obvious, learn some basic French. You don't need much, you need to be able to say hello, excuse me, thank you, and it will be very helpful if you can learn just a couple of basic words that you might need on your day-to-day basis. First thing I learn in any language is how to order a glass of wine because I need my Chardonnay. It might not be grammatically correct, but everyone you encounter will be much nicer to you if you try having a conversation in French. In most cases, the waiter in a restaurant, the person who you're ordering the coffee from, the hotel desk, anyone you are talking to, they're going to switch to English once they understand your limitation in French. But they will gladly do it themselves after you started talking to them in French. I hope that was helpful and enjoy visiting Paris.